Welcome to Sunday Lunch, Reality Served, where we discuss reality TV, pop culture, and what distracted us this week. Hello, Jessie.
Hi, Sophie.
We have such an exciting episode today. We are going to cover episode 1 of the Real Housewives of Rhode Island reunion. We're going to chat in the city for the very first time and specifically talking about the Kenny of it all. Then it's on to Taylor, Frankie, Paul. I know we are both so excited to discuss this. So we're going to talk about the Bachelorette and all of the recent chaos, which is actually quite timely today. And then we're going to talk about what's been distracting us this week. We're talking weddings. And then we're going to wrap it up with this week's fabulous recommendations.
We certainly are. But of course, before we get into all that, Sophie, what's in your cup for Sunday lunch today?
Okay, what is in my cup today is, I can't believe this is the first time. This is my real drink that I drink all of the time. It is a Lady Grey tea with the tea bag left in. I have it white with no sugar. You can see my lipstick on the other side. I've obviously been drinking for both sides. I probably have 4 of these every morning, which is
You do a
crazy.
Lady Grey. My mum loves a Lady Grey, and I always used to call her Lady Grey because she's got that silver hair and she's had it forever. Good for you drinking tea. I feel that's like a real hand down from our grandmother, actually, because both our mums drink a lot of that tea and you do too.
And I actually got Lady Grey in the house originally for my mother-in-law. I must have just had plain tea before, and that's what she liked. So I'd buy it for her, and then I was like, ooh, and now it's my drink.
I love that you leave the tea bag in. Whenever I make tea for people, I always leave it in because I'm like, it can't get strong enough if you just do a few dunks and then put milk in. That's ridiculous.
No, well, I mean, the Pakistanis, when they make their tea, they put like several tea bags in.
Yeah, because it has to be like it's almost been properly brewed. And I remember I used to do that for my dad, and he'd be like, "Who keeps leaving the tea bag in?" And I was like, "It's for you. I'm doing it
because I love you."
Exactly.
So, Jessie, what's in your cup today?
In my cup, it's freezing in Tassie today, so I've got just a flat white from our coffee machine. We use Fish River Roasters beans that we still get sent here from O'Connell because it's like a little local roastery, and it's the best coffee. And I have several heaters on as well because it is freezing. But I'm just so excited to talk today because it is such a juicy episode. We have so much to cover, and there's just so much to say. So I'll hand it to you, Sophie, to kick off with the Rhode Island reunion. Honestly, it was giving me life. And the only thing I want to say is that it was amazing to finally see Ruler, my Lebanese brethren, activated, but maybe she overactivated. Who knows? We'll get into it, but over to you.
Well, yeah, why don't we start there with the ruler of it all? Because I was dying to know your opinion when she came in so hot.
I think what's happened is, and I think this can happen at a first reunion, is that when she was filming, like we talked about, because her husband Brian was having an affair and it was going on, and we talked about last week, like she obviously didn't want that brought onto the show, but it was such a juicy storyline that Joellen hammered it every episode just about. So Ruler kind of backed off on filming, and then I think she realized by the time she'd seen the episode, she was barely in any of them. So then she realized, oh, if I want a second season, I'm going to have to bring it at the reunion. And of course, she overbrought it. It was too much. She came in way too hot for the temperature of the questions and the environment. Like, you save that kind of activation normally until like you've been there for 8 hours and it's episode 3 of the reunion, you know? What did you think?
Yes. Okay, that's what I thought too. And I felt it was, I mean, obviously she's probably got a lot of pent up things because she was a huge topic of conversation even when she wasn't filming. Obviously, you've seen that I did the recap sort of points on Instagram, and that was what I'd written. I was like, you know, Ruler came to play. She's had a nose job, but she came for Liz's marriage, which I was so shocked that she did that so openly. Then she came for Joellen's vagina. She came for Joellen's job. She came for Andy's 5-minute break. So, you know, that look on Andy's face when she's like, Andy, how do you, can you do Andy?
I cannot do it, but I love actually, sidebar, I love seeing Andy get cranky at the housewives when they overstep in a reunion, like or we saw it in the Summer House reunion when Lindsay was like, we haven't learned anything new, Andy. And he's like, do you want to take over? And you just know that she does. And it was the same with
Ruler. Great job.
Yeah, he's like, can you Can you ladies calm down? Like, it's too much too soon. Let the man do his job. I mean, what a terrible thing for me to say, but let Andy do his job until, he's really dropped the ball and then step in.
Agreed, agreed. Now, I just was watching I saw it on Instagram today, like a little recap, a little preview of episode 2.
Oh,
Have you seen it at all?
no, I haven't. I've been in editing land for days.
Okay, so I'm going to play you this little clip, and so this is Alicia and Andy, and I want you to tell me if you can understand what Alicia is saying here. Okay, so I'll play it.
Gonna lean in as though that will help me hear it
Yes.
better.
And so, but do you eat proteins?
Not a lot.
No.
I do almonds.
Elements.
Almond.
And so, but do you eat?
Can you understand what she said?
Did she say I do elements of protein? Or
Okay, I'll play it for you one more time. It is not elements.
Oh, okay.
Proteins?
Not a lot.
No.
I do almonds.
Elements.
Almond.
Almonds.
And so, but
Did you get it?
You eat
She does
Almonds.
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 I
She's
speak Alicia.
crap.
Oh my God, I speak Alicia. We can eat crackers and almonds together. I love a toasted flaked almond. If you listen, tip from me to you. Get a packet of flaked almonds, toast them in a hot pan, no oil, crack some salt on them. When they're brown, take them out, eat them. They are better than chips. Alicia and I, we are meant to be friends.
You are meant to be friends. Oh my gosh, I love that. Okay, we'll have to send her your beautiful almond recipe. I died because everyone was like, what? I was like, she eats like elements. And anyway, but almonds. And I don't know what that accent is, what American accent that is, but hers is strong.
I know, but I love it. It's like her vowels are all kind of off in a reverse kind of way, but not. And so, like, for listeners who may not be in Australia, we always have a little laugh with our New Zealand cousins, we like to call them. So Australia has a little country right by it called New Zealand, and we sort of have free reign between countries. Like, we take theirs, they take us, but their vowels are in reverse to us. So, like, if we make an I sound, they'll make an E sound and vice versa. But with Alicia, I can't figure out what she's doing to her vowels and consonants, and yet I find it very soothing to listen to.
Same. It is soothing. There's a real sort of peace to it. And, it's just interesting because I don't feel like all of her castmates could understand what she was saying either. So it's obviously an Aliciaism. But it was really nice, I thought, to see something sort of fun and light coming for reunion 2, because we kind of want the mix of, the deep, dark stuff and then the light stuff as well. And we didn't actually hear a lot from Alicia in episode 1. I was actually really pleased with it. I think they got to the meat of a bunch of the things that we were wondering about. So I know in the last episode we had talked about how we want the 3 girls to sort of hook up. It was really nice for Kelsey to openly admit that she'd known who Ashley was and how long she'd followed her, and that they would, that she would like to be friends with her. It was actually quite sweet because Ashley said, yeah, we can hang out, but then she did check with Rosie. She's like, actually, is that okay? Because they've become so super close. And I think that's the opening, hopefully, for a friendship there. And I don't think Kelsey's as tough as she's made out. I actually think she's a lot more insecure, whereas I truly believe Rosie, who we love, is a strong, she has, high self-worth and all those sorts of things that I don't feel that Kelsey necessarily has. And actually, I think they would be really good friends if they could be more vulnerable with each other. And I feel like that was the opening. What did you think?
I tend to agree. I don't know. It would take a lot of change, I think, on Kelsey's part, because as you said, and you picked it, is that what's happened is Liz, obviously the matriarch, kind of the boss of the group, was sending around a group chat that Rosie wasn't in and getting Kelsey all whipped up against this, younger woman, which I feel was strategic. And Kelsey has really internalized that kind of negativity towards Rosie, which is unnecessary. I do agree. Kelsey is insecure. You don't get in. Look, I'm not judging. This isn't shade, but she was in a strange situation for her entire 20s, and she's now just coming out to try and figure out who she is as a 30-year-old woman and into her 30s. that will take her some time. The best thing she could do is become friends with Rosie, who is self-reliant, who has always worked and scrapped for a living, who has a really lovely relationship with her very supportive husband, seems to have a great relationship with her in-laws, seems to know what she wants. And Ashley could be the bridge between the two of them because clearly Kelsey's a fan of Ashley. But I always felt like Ashley was sort of the goal for Kelsey. Like Kelsey wants to be friends with Ashley. The thing is, Ashley and Rosie are genuine, deep friends. So Kelsey, you're going to have to apologize and stop projecting this stuff onto Rosie, who has done nothing to you. And I think what's disappointing was seeing in the reunion Kelsey double down on saying that Rosie's had an affair with some basketball coach, double down on saying that she was in a car while he got a DUI. Well, and back her up and say your name's in a police report for that, even though none of them have ever seen the police report. Obviously, that's information they got from Liz. And Liz was sitting there looking like the cat that got the cream, knowing that they wouldn't throw her under the bus, but she wouldn't say anything. And I really felt for Rosie in that moment of having her reputation completely thrown in her face for things that they can't even produce.
No, and they can't even hold it together. Like one of my original notes was like, there's clear division, but what the division was supposed to be was Liz, Kelsey, Joellen, and Alicia. But because Liz and Joellen are having that fight, it's really fractured this sort of team that they tried to pull together, which is again why Joellen is like spilled about the group chat. And yeah, I feel awful for Rosie that she's having to go through that. And I think, gosh, I just really hope that Kelsey can pull it together. And I think because, again, like we said last week, I think she thought she was coming in at a higher hierarchy. And
Yes.
I think you're right. I think she was after the friendship with Ashley because that's really prestigious. And I think that all then ties back to her level of insecurity about her own self. And like she's only ever seen herself in relation to her relationships with others, like being at home and then the partner of this person and then, Miss Rhode Island. But it's like, when has she ever just sat and been like, well, this is who I am, not in relation to those around me. And again, I think Rosie would be such a good influence for that, which is you can tell Rosie went and lived a life independent, successful, all of these things. So she, even if she is in a marriage, she's not going to lose herself. She doesn't see herself in relation to someone else. And so, but you're right, Kelsey's really going to have to sort of like, like, I don't know, apologize, but eat crow. But I hope if she does that Rosie doesn't make her suffer, doesn't haze her for it. Just sort of says like, enough is enough. Like you've been humbled and now let's start at the start.
I agree. It can't move forward unless, like you said, both of them are willing to show a little bit of vulnerability. I think the problem with me, because I identify with Rosie so much, I would never trust Kelsey. I just wouldn't. I would feel like I was just the gateway for Kelsey to get to Ashley, and I would never trust her. I wouldn't make her eat crow, but I would just keep her on an outer level of friendship. And also because I think on these shows, what's going to happen is, like, as you said, the alliances that were set up before the season have crumbled. Alicia's angry at Liz. Ruler's angry at Liz and Joellen. Liz got the shits with Joellen, who was meant to be her little attack person.
Yes.
And now they're fighting. And so really Liz only has Kelsey, but Kelsey's starting to see I might be better off with Ashley and Rosie. So I am excited, not only for the rest of the reunion, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I'm excited to see how it all redevelops in season 2.
Yes, me too. And I think, you know what, if it goes the way we want, it would probably be boring television. And this is what I always have to tell myself when I'm like shouting at the screen. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, say this or do that. Or, don't you know she's, but then, if they're all just sitting around being rational people, we wouldn't be interested. So,
Exactly.
yeah, so we will watch part 2 and we will report back soon.
We will. And so check out Sophie's ultimate cheat sheet on Instagram. If you want every detail of that reunion, it is right there. Zoom in. There's a lot on there, but it is the perfect cheat sheet. So go check it out. And yeah, it was a really good first reunion. I think I'm looking forward to the next 2. They really, I don't know, they stepped it up. Oh, can we have a moment for the fashion? I felt it was very Dancing with the Stars.
You know, I don't think you and I have talked about it on here yet, but we love a bit of glitter. We love a bit of bling. We like a little, and
Sequin.
the little secret. Okay. So who was your best dressed?
Okay, because even though I love a sequin, my entire wedding dress was sequins. I could have been performing in a Vegas bar in my wedding dress. So let's just put it out there. I am obsessed with sequins. This was too much. This was very 1980s Dallas for me. Like, however, my favorite, and please don't come at me. And I'm not just saying this because I like her, but honestly, I liked Rosie's dress the best. What about
Oh
you?
my gosh. Yes, I was just like pulling up a picture because I'd actually saved a picture of all of their dresses. Rosie looked phenomenal, and it was from her hair and her makeup to her dress. Like it was like so like I knew she was beautiful, but she was
Mm.
next level beautiful. The only critique I would have is I don't think she had the right hair for the dress because I felt like the
Yes.
dress was so sweet. And like because her and Ashley connect on loving Disney and princesses, and it was very like princess esque.
Stunning.
But yeah, I don't know that her hair was. But anyway, she looked stunning.
She did. So, Sophie, what was your favorite dress though?
Okay, I have a terrible memory, so to me, it's just a blur of blue.
Yes.
But the only dress that I actually remember that stood out to me was Kelsey's. So at
Yes.
first, that dark blue, I thought it was latex, and I thought, oh my God, like what a choice. And then I think on closer inspection, it was sequins.
Yes.
It was, yeah. So it almost, but the deep, deep blue of it gave it that sort of latex look. Anyway, and again, thought she looked beautiful, but they all did. So obviously
She,
we liked what the younger girls were wearing. Did you see that Ashley Iaconetti was filming a influencer ad
I
during
did. Good for her. That girl is hustling. I respect that work ethic. She's getting it going. Also, she obviously wants to make enough to stop having to deal with Audrey's and Jared. So I don't blame her whatsoever. But yeah, I thought Kelsey looked stunning. The reason I didn't pick her as my favorite dress is because the royal blue color, it suited her. But when I was in high school, that was our high school sport uniform color. And also while we were in high school, they changed our swimming costume to a turtleneck, mock turtleneck, halter neck, royal blue swim costume, which actually looked amazing. But it reminded me so much of her dress because she had the halter neck and it looked like liquid or, as you said, latex. And I was like, oh no, I'm getting flashbacks to like swimming in high school. I can't do this.
it made me I was just like, you had the Stacy swimsuit. You
Look
were
like
so
Santa.
ahead of your time, Steve Jobs.
It's I asked Charlie who his favorite dress was, and I think he was very close to saying Kelsey, but knew that wouldn't fly. So then he said, "I like Alicia's dress the best," and I was like, "Oh, that can't be right."
Oh, what did hers look like
she had
again?
she had giant sequins in a like sky blue color, but it just looked a little bit, it just looked a little bit Dancing with the Stars for me.
Yes, yes. And the thing is, I mean, so Mum and I when I was little, we used to watch is it Strictly Dancing? What was not Strictly Come Dancing, the Australian one, the ballroom dancing, Strictly Ballroom on
Yes.
ABC, those competitions. Oh my gosh. Because when they'd ask me, people like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I always used to say I want to be a ballroom dancing architect because I heard architects make a lot of money and I want to wear those ballroom dresses. So that's been my aesthetic since day dot.
I love that. A ballroom dancing architect. It's not too late.
Yeah, it's never too late. But we were talking about Stacy, and so did you see that? Obviously, she's got her own show coming out on Hulu, which I think we watch via Disney in Australia. Um, will we be watching?
I'm going to check it out. I know that she had, along with Kristen Doody, what they did something. Look, I won't go into all the details. It's there online if you want to see it. But they did something terrible to a person of color co-worker off screen when they were on Vanderpump Rules, and they were rightly fired for it. I hope she has made amends with that person and really thought about what she did. It was bad. But I'm going to check out the Stacy show. I don't love Bo. That's the only thing. I feel like she's been trying to make Bo happen because he doesn't seem to have a job for years. So while
Yes.
I'm interested to watch her, she's so engaging on screen. I'm not that keen for him. But what do you think?
Yeah, I will give it a go. I'm interested, but having said that, like if anyone can carry an ensemble cast, but themselves, it is someone like Stacy, who in her heyday was like peak watching, like just the best lines, very, very smart. But I also watched a bit of Vanderpump Villa, and I actually found that a little bit boring. And so, although I only actually watched it for the crossover with Mormon Wives, which we will talk about. So I only watched it to see who Marciano was. And then I didn't love it. And so, but Stacy was on that. She was probably the highlight of it though. So, okay. Yeah. I think let's give it a crack when it comes out and then we can decide.
And we can debrief after that. Yes, absolutely. All
Okay. So
right.
now we're heading into the city.
Okay. Okay, guys. I've been wanting to talk about this for a few episodes, but there's just been so much going on. Also, if you can see me on screen right now, I'm fiddling with a very new, long, supposed curtain fringe, and I don't know how to style it. So just if you're watching me, please ignore what I'm doing.
Now, a cutting of a fringe is usually like a big life. Something's happening in your life. Is anything happening in your life, Jessie?
No, well, my mum's getting married next week, but I think we can talk about that later. But I honestly think that is what it is. So yes, in the city. So it seems like they're finally transitioning some of the older Summer House cast into a New York-based show. Now, this is great for me for two reasons. One, because the rebooted Housewives of New York City was terrible. It did not work. The chemistry wasn't there. So they're giving us this aspirational New York City attractive young people in their 30s, like making their life happen. I love that. I love seeing the architecture of New York. I love seeing them trying to make it. They're familiar faces, so we're already invested in their conflict. So I am pumped. Now, there is also a little bit of Bachelor crossover. We see that one of the characters on In the City, who is a friend of Kyle Cook, Kyle Radke, Lindsay Hubbard, so he's obviously been in the group for a while. They've brought him in. His name's Kenny. He's already extremely divisive. And he has moved his girlfriend of 1 year, Whitney, out from LA to New York City to move in with him. And she was on Nick Vile's, I believe, Bachelor season. She didn't make it very far because she's very quiet and very like gentle, even though she is stunningly beautiful.
And when she said on this week's episode, they did the flashback, and she's like, "I'm the opposite of boring." I was like, "Oh, wait till you watch this show, sweetheart."
I know. God bless her. So what's been happening, guys, is that they've brought this new group together. There's also
Can I give you a bit of background on that? Just FYI.
please.
So in the last few seasons of Summer House, it started to get the nickname Couple House because there was too many couples, and the goal really of Summer House is the hookups, the debauchery, etc. So it was originally going to be a show pitched around Lindsay. And so her life, because she was with someone and she was having a baby, and so I mean she's just a PR superstar. I imagine she probably originally pitched the whole thing. And then it turned into more of an ensemble cast. We're like, okay, well, the couples who have sort of aged out of Summer House, we'll move them into the city. It's supposed to be based around Kyle and Amanda, Lindsay and her guy, which is why Carl wasn't originally cast, because he was single, and he got a little boring there for a while. He's gotten like new life through this whole drama. And then a couple of their friends who are couples. But I just say that because like there feels like there's a little bit of a showmance element to Kenny. I don't know what you think, so we can talk about that. But I wonder when they were casting or trying to get onto the show, if that had anything to do with why he was bringing out his girlfriend after a year to live in New York. I don't know. But so that's kind of a little bit of the background of like how In the City came to be.
But I agree with you. I think you're right. Like I feel like you have all these human nature. Like you can see the machinations that are happening because you know the background and you know people. Kenny is thirsty. He is so thirsty. He's been wandering in the desert looking for a drink for the last 5 years. This guy has been desperate to get on TV, you can tell. And I do think that the Whitney of it all is like shoring up his position, but he's also guaranteed himself a first season storyline because he went out to a lunch with Kyle. And this struck me as a very random thing for a guy to say to another guy when he's literally moving this girlfriend out to move in with him that he loves, who he's known for a year. It's not like they've just been dating a couple of months.
Yes.
And he literally sits Kyle down and says, I love her. She's perfect. Everything's wonderful. She's amazing. But I don't know if there's any spark. I don't know if I have the spark to want to marry her and spend my life with her. Now, first of all, that's a shocking thing to say. Second,
Shocking.
to say it to Kyle, who runs around, bless him making reality television for us, Kyle. He runs around and tells all the other boys, because
Everyone.
boys love to gossip. And there's another couple in the friendship group called Andreas and Lexi. And
Oh,
Andreas is like the sweetest male model.
beautiful man. Like,
Yeah.
beautiful in every sense, like
Yeah.
aesthetically, but just that big heart. Like, he's such a beautiful man.
So he, of course, gets very worried for Whitney. So he starts to tell people, Kenny said spark. He said the relationship is murky, which we will get to the,
The
semantics of
murkiness of
the word.
murky.
And of course, at the same time, while Kenny's off creating his own little relationship storyline with the boys, Lindsay clocks Kenny for being thirsty, I think in the first or second episode, and says to him, "Are you planning to marry her?" Probably egged on a little bit by Carl, I would think.
Mm.
And if you're moving this girl out to live with you, you better know what your intentions with her are. And Kenny, it turns out, unsurprisingly, for this type of cannot handle a strong woman's opinion.
Mm-hmm.
He loses his mind multiple times at Lindsay in
Mm-hmm.
every episode. It's giving very insecure energy to me. How have you taken Kenny? Like, what are your thoughts on him?
Oh, thank you for saying what you've just said, because like I've said before, I'm a bad judge of character. So I couldn't put him anywhere. I was so confused, and I was like, why is he fighting with Lindsay? And like, I didn't like, and same thing. I'm like, he couldn't handle the strength of her. But at times, like I've found him, to be honest, I wasn't sure. And then I know him going down this whole like dad storyline, but on camera, again, talking about shoring up certain things. And then just the way that you've said he was thirsty, now I get it, because that is what I think he is. I think, yeah, why would you say that about your girlfriend when A, Kyle's a gossip, but B, you're on camera, buddy. Like, what are you doing if you don't want that to be a storyline? And then I really, really got the ick when when she was moving in and how he was treating her. I just could not imagine moving myself across the country to move in with someone and then have them standing there really being unsupportive. Like, why did you bring all of your stuff? And what I would have just crawled into a ball and died. That is such a huge commitment to make, to not be welcomed with open arms. I know he says he's joking. And then on the most recent episode, his mate, who I can't remember his name, but they were talking about how they share clothes. The mate's like, oh, we're like two girls. We like to share clothes. And he's like, oh, I've known him 15 years. Penny is so thirsty.
He is. And that's, as you say, he's got multiple storylines. He's set one up for his relationship with Kyle. He set one up with Whitney by kind of being mean to her. And she even said to him when she was moving in, she's like, this isn't funny anymore. Like, you're not making this very nice for me, which makes me think that he's playing a role. Now, the question is whether he's playing a role for the show or whether he was playing a role for her to get her out there. I don't know. But then he's also got this very sympathetic storyline about finding his dad. It's just, he's doing the most. And
Yes, he's doing the most.
But can I ask you a serious question? If you saw that your man who was moving you out to live with you told his friend that he didn't feel the kind of spark that would make him want to marry you, what would your response to that be?
I think context matters. So I think when it's being repeated down the line that, there's no spark, I think if you do go back to the original footage, it is what you've said, which is, then there's nuance, which he's saying it's great now, but he's always been resistant to full commitment, and he's not sure if he's got the spark with her that's going to like overcome his inability for long-term commitment.
Yeah.
And so I feel as though if he explained it to me in that way, to say, I've had troubles with long-term commitment because I have XY issues and I'm actually trying to work through XY issues to see if I can come out the other end. You know, will you stay with me on that journey? I think I would be open to it, but I need to have had that discussion with them and not see it for the first time on the show, right? If I saw it if I was blindsided by it, I would be devastated. And I would turn around and go back to LA.
And I think she has been blindsided by it. And honestly, you know how we talked about in another episode, there's that incredible quote, I think it's Maya Angelou, where if someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. To me, Whitney, this is the first time. You should probably get out of this situation, in my opinion, but she'll wait for the second or third time because he has made it, to quote Andreas, our beloved Andreas, he has made it murky. Now, there was this whole blow up on the show, guys, that Kenny starts. What I will give Kenny is that he will confront people for the things they say. And I like that on a reality show. I don't like when they just whisper quietly. I'm like, just go tell the person.
Yeah, go and have the discussion. Yeah.
Go and have it. We want to see it. So he does do that. And he gets very upset that Andreas was saying to people that the future of his relationship with Whitney was murky. Now, Andreas, English is clearly his second language. The man speaks multiple languages. The man is also gorgeous, sweet, kind, has the abs of a Greek god. Good for him. Like, has a beautiful wife who's not afraid to stand up for herself too, which I also really like.
And he left Summer House for her because Summer House would only keep him on if he was single. And so they'd broken up and he came on the show. But the whole time he would just sort of like, he wanted to get with Paige originally and that was really, really sweet. But he would just cry about Lexi. And they're like, go and find her. So he did. Between seasons, he went and found her. They got back together and he did not come back to the show because he was so committed to her. Like that is a genuine, Kenny would never.
Kenny would never. And ladies, Whitney, everyone, if a man wants to, he will. Andreas left that business opportunity because he loved her. And I don't get that vibe from Kenny. But also what really made me angry was the way that Kenny was coming for Andreas. Coming for him about the language he used. And Andreas was trying to say to him, this is a semantic argument. When I said murky, I didn't say you said the word murky, just that you are unsure about the future of the relationship, which is true. And Kenny just hammered him. I never said murky. I never said murky, to the point where poor Andreas lost his goddamn mind.
I've never seen him lose his mind before. He's such a peaceful creature.
He
has that Italian spark, I suppose.
Yes. Well, he was trying to say, you're not listening to me, Kenny. I'm trying to tell you my intentions. What I was trying to say was this, but Kenny wouldn't have it. And I think Kenny is so blockheaded. So yeah, I'm not a Kenny fan, but I am a massive Lindsay Hubbard fan. And I haven't seen the early Summer House. I know she's divisive, but I think she's great. So am I missing something?
No, she has just matured a lot. In fact, actually, just before we jumped on to record, I was listening to the podcast that she did with Carl on Carl's podcast, which is really good. And she was talking about when she was at university, and she was talking about 2006, 2007. I was like, oh, geez, wow, I was graduated uni by then. So she's, so she's of our age, right? And so I think, when we first met her, which was 10 years ago, party animal, etc. And she's always been really clear about what she wants, which was like marriage and a baby. And so she had this timeline that she was always after, and she was pushing it. And what she's saying now is that she's obviously had this baby Gemma and she's not with the father, but she just feels this unbelievable freedom. She's like, because she doesn't talk to her own mother. So she's sort of got a bit of a mother issue. And she's like, I have Gemma now. And that's all I wanted. I wanted family and I'm good. So she's like, whether I get married or date someone, like, I don't care. I'm fully, and it's true, she is. And so it was almost, because her and Carl had been best friends for years and years before they got together. Like, it's almost like they could get back together now because she's got what she wants, which is Gemma. And it's like Gemma fixed a hole in her heart. And now Lindsay can just be Lindsay without this like timeline like really over the top of her. So yeah, I love Lindsay. I've always known she was good television, but I haven't always like loved her take because she is an alpha. And when
Yes.
Paige came on, and I love Paige, Paige is also an alpha. And it was crazy because Lindsay's always been able to dominate any of the new girls that came in, and she just could not dominate. Go back and watch those seasons. That is good watching.
Oh, I absolutely will, because I do want to get up to speed on, the Paige and Southern charm of it all as
Hannah.
well. Yes, and Hannah. So I actually love that you said that maybe Lindsay and Carl could get back together now that she has removed the pressure from herself. But like you said, maybe having her baby kind of healed some of that mother wound that she has. And so the pressure isn't there. I actually think her and Carl are I don't know that much about these people, guys. I've come to Summer House late, but they do seem like an incredible couple because they do have such an strong basis in friendship. Like, can he get himself together to be good enough for her? That's what I would love.
That's what he's been trying to do. So he also has a really tragic story because he lost his brother to an overdose, and it woke him up, and he had been, consuming alcohol and drugs a lot himself and partying till he was out of control. So he's gone sober. And so for the first few seasons where he was sober, he really was just a bit boring because he didn't want to go out and party. And yet now it's like it's turned, and he can still party and have fun. I think he's California sober, but I think he can still party and have fun. And so in a way, he wasn't healed enough yet for that relationship either. It was too soon, and Lindsay wasn't ready to give up alcohol. So the whole thing. So yeah, I feel like they've both gone away and done a ton of work. And yeah, I would be really interested to see if they could get that spark back because the friendship is there.
Oh, I would love that. And it's all in the timing. We know it's in the timing. Start as you mean to go on. They need to start afresh, start from the right, block position, and they're both in a better place. It could happen.
Well, yeah, if you listen to their podcast or his podcast, like it's really lovely. It's really lovely to listen to.
All right. I'm gonna ship them privately in my dark little heart over here. Lindsay
We'll
and
manifest for them. So can we make a fun little transition now? So we were just talking about Whitney from The Bachelor. And so I think there is a huge topic that we haven't discussed, you and I, face to face like this, which is really the Taylor Frankie Paul of it all. And so, the thread being that she was cast as the Bachelorette, and then a whole bunch of things happened which we can go into. But really, where I want to get to, Jessie, is I want to understand your view on whether you think her Bachelorette season should have aired. And so, before you answer, I'll just take a step back to say, so I actually shared this on our Instagram this morning. I went to the effort of making a Venn diagram about how excited I was when she was cast as the Bachelorette, because I know we're going to do a bonus episode one time which talks about our reality TV history, but I was deep in the Bachelor Nation universe for a while there, like really deep. And so I love that universe. Then when the whole mom talk of it all went down, I had to get onto TikTok and learn all the lore of that, which I did prior to the Mormon Wives show coming out. Then the Mormon Wives show came out. I thought it was phenomenal. I'm obsessed with Mormons, so I've follow a lot of Mormons. You too?
yes, because they live in the mountains, which I love. And they're this weird closed community. So, bad things are happening because it's religious and it's closed. But also they all are so stunningly beautiful and wealthy and seem to be allowed to have a lot of facial surgery and ketamine injections. I'm so confused by the entire thing. So I'm fascinated.
Same. Anything that comes up about Mormons, I watch it. And so obviously we've got, Housewives of Utah, which is awesome. Salt Lake City, sorry. I mean, to the point that we went on a family holiday a couple of years ago, and I made our whole family go to Utah, and we stayed at Deer Valley because I follow these Mormon influencers online. So when we were on the ski, things coming down, I was trying to find their ski house. And I'm just I am a crazy person. I love Mormons. And so anyway, the whole thing's fascinating. So, okay, so then the Taylor Frankie Paul of it is that the reason she became famous was there was a huge swinging scandal. So it's always been she's always been chaos. It's always been clear. Chaos,
Yeah.
chaos, chaos. So then she gets a reality show about her and her friends based off the swinging scandal online. But then production was paused filming when they were still filming season 1 of the Mormon Wives show, because Taylor Frankie Paul and her partner at the time had a domestic abuse incident, and it was really serious. So she ended up going, like, she was arrested. She was taken to jail for the night. There was a police cam showing that she was like really distressed, clearly intoxicated. So they stopped filming at that point, and they were essentially, what I think, waiting to see if she could get her life together. Because whilst it was again going to be an ensemble cast, she is the one with the it factor. Like, we can, I mean, you can tell me what you think, but I really think you're watching for Taylor Frankie Paul. And so she did. She got sober, a whole bunch of things. Think she's always going to be chaos, but she got it together. So they refilmed the rest of the season, but they still dedicated the entire first episode to that, to the domestic violence, what had happened, I guess her journey back to, getting sober, finding herself. And so fast forward, they film that. It goes really, really well. They've had several seasons. There's now another one being filmed in OC. And so out of that, Taylor's had this on and off toxic relationship with this guy, Dakota. They'd finally broken up. And then she gets announced as the Bachelorette. And this is when I just lost my mind, because I wanted it for her, because she's I actually think in her marriage, it was lovely. But again, they all get married at like 19, and it's a whole thing.
Even younger. Some of them are having kids at 16 and getting married because they're not allowed to have sex, and allowed to use protection, so they get pregnant, so they have to get married. They're marrying the wrong people. They're too young. Their frontal lobes aren't even sorted out yet. So I agree. They're swinging because they want to experiment. Oh.
And that's like, I think the Michaela of it all with that, with them being married so young, and like her going through her, because there's so much child sexual abuse in that community based on what we're seeing, because so many of them have had these experiences, and she's trying to process that. But it's like, dude, you married your husband when you had first baby 16. I think he was also one of your abusers, and you don't even know it. Sorry. Okay. So
I know that's a tangent, but I think her coming to terms with the child sexual abuse for her is also trying then to come to terms with the fact that her husband is one of her abusers and she's had children with him, and that would shatter your entire worldview. So that's a lot to work through in therapy. And I think Michaela is doing that. But as you say, this is a closed religious community. There are abuses taking place. We're fascinated, I guess, on that surface glitz and glamour level of it all, but there is real and dark things that happen in these religious societies. And we're seeing the result of that on our screen as well. As beautiful as these women are, their hair is glossy, their houses are perfect. But Taylor Frankie Paul is not really okay. She has always been chaos personified. She's been involved with the wrong guys. So she cannot quit this Dakota guy who is so less than mid. He is less than he brings nothing to the table. He's not smart. He's not interesting. He's not fun. He's not wealthy. He's not kind. He's not good looking. Like, even on a surface level, what does he bring, let alone the fact that he's an empty shell of a controlling man?
Yes, he is. And I wanted out for her so badly from that, because I think, again, she jumped into it far too quickly. Basically, I think they were DMing, right as the swinging stand. She wasn't with her husband yet, so she's never been alone. She feel the same way about Jessie. It's like Jessie met her husband while she was with her previous husband, and now she's dating Marciano, who she met when she was, I was like, dude, you've got to take a break and get to know yourself. I think that'll be our advice for all of these women. And so Taylor was, it was kind of a big deal when she was cast as Bachelorette. She's not your standard Bachelor Nation Bachelorette by any stretch of the imagination. And I think the ratings for Bachelor had been dropping, so they were hoping that she'd be this sort of, renewed energy for them. But what is particularly important to note is that Hulu, which her Mormon Wives show is on, and Disney, it's the same owner. And so when Disney casted her as the Bachelorette, they own the Mormon Wives show. So they know what happened in that episode 1 around the domestic abuse. And so
Not a surprise then. Not a surprise. So
not a surprise.
what
You
we're
knew
saying is,
and you capitalized it as a storyline. And
I was
so
gonna say, it was such inspired casting to put, because as you say, Bachelor Nation is getting a bit dull. And also, like, it's heavily rooted in Christian traditions. We're meant to pretend that they're all looking for marriage and love and babies and that they go into the fantasy suite and just hold hands. Yeah, come on. Like, we're not idiots. But it is so popular in, like, the middle America populations over there, and they're also like Jesus based, that's where it's really gone, and it has millions upon millions upon millions of followers. So it was inspired casting to get this young, fresh, quasi-religious girl to go over there. She has a built-in backstory that, like you said, we want this for her. We want her to find the right guy and maybe help her manage the chaos. But it sounds to me like these two companies knew exactly who she was, were happy to capitalize on the excitement of that casting, but then hung her out to dry when their very conservative Bachelor Nation base got up in arms about it.
So what happened is actually the Bachelorette season was due to air on March 22nd, and a couple days prior, Dakota released footage from the night of the arrest that hadn't been previously seen. And it sounds like he's been blackmailing her with this, which actually makes a lot of other things make sense, since then. And in that film, that video, it's deeply disturbing because they're having a fight, but she is very angry and there is a child asleep on the couch and she throws a chair, which might have hit the child. But then you hear the baby start to scream and it's like heart-wrenching. And so when that came, obviously then ABC was like, oh, we're going to pause. But what it was, and you can tell it is, it's retaliation abuse. He had locked her in the garage for a long time, which was all on the police film. And she had wet herself in there because she was intoxicated and he wasn't. He was home looking after the children. He finally let her out of the garage and just started filming her. And that's what that film, it's why she's so cross in this film. But
And why
also, there's a ton
charging.
of context.
So that's why she came out charging, because he had locked her up.
Yes. And so it's this domestic abuse, like they call it retaliatory abuse. It's an actual thing, but what the person will do is they will tape it or whatnot. And so, but also she was not aware the child was there. They've spoken about it on Call Her Daddy and other things, but her child had been upstairs in bed prior to her being locked into the garage. Not that it makes any difference. Like, you shouldn't be having this sort of volatile arguments at the middle of the night when your children are asleep, etc. So,
No.
but he had been blackmailing her with this film and he released it like 3 days prior to the Bachelorette airing. Like, he is diabolical. And so instead of supporting her and allowing it to air and helping her, really, because it was the final straw. Like, she's free of him now. He's released that film. He's got nothing over her anymore. So it was that final piece anyway. So then they didn't release the series and she's obviously gone through a fair bit. And I guess I'm telling the story in a way that, you know, it's giving my opinion, but I'm still open to the discussion, which is to say, Jessie, do you think they should have aired that season or not?
And now they're saying they're going to air it in July, right?
So this morning, I know we were already planning on talking about it today, and then this morning it came out that they're talking about airing it in July.
Which is wild. So, oh my gosh, there's so many competing feelings about how I feel about this. And yes, I can sort of tell your opinion and where you're coming from. And I agree, reactive abuse or retaliatory abuse is a real thing. And we often see it where women have been abused and then they fight back and the man films it as though he's the victim. And honestly, we saw it, and this kind of breaks my heart to even mention this, but you'll see it in all communities, but that big case of Gabby Petito some years ago where there was that dash cam footage of the police coming to find them because someone had called it in and said that man is abusing that girl. And when the police got there, she was crying and she was hysterical and distressed. And she said to the policeman, I did slap him So the policeman all of a sudden, oh, well, you're the abuser. No, she did that because he was abusing her. And several days later, he murdered her. So like, it's absolutely shocking to watch how this woman who is young woman clearly in distress is being treated. So that's reactive or retaliatory abuse, and it exists. And it is
And you know what?
misinterpreted a
People
lot.
don't believe the woman. And so
No.
the only reason that people believe Taylor Frankie Paul is that her neighbors had actually reported there's someone locked in that garage screaming. So she has,
Proof.
like, otherwise no one would believe it. They would all say it's rubbish.
That's
Like
right.
Abby.
And you do see in the seasons of Mormon Wives, I didn't know about throwing the chair and the child being nearby. That feels really damning for her when, as you say, without the context, she thought the child was safe upstairs. However, that's no excuse. She shouldn't have been drunk. She shouldn't have been belligerent. He shouldn't have locked her up. There's a case, I suppose, for him to say he was detaining her so that she wouldn't go upstairs and upset the children. But really, poor decisions made by everybody. And I'm just going to say this, I'm sorry, but Dakota has been a verbally abusive partner to her from what I've seen. I could be wrong, but that's,
Well,
well,
all levels of abuse now. And again,
yeah.
more evidence has been presented for that. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
been shocking.
And,
Like, what she's actually been hiding is shocking.
and he's had rage issues from what we've heard from her friends. I think one of them didn't even want to be alone in a car with him at one point. So he is not a paragon of virtue. Now, neither is Taylor Frankie Paul. That is a domestic violence situation. We have to decide, do we allow people to make amends and move on if they don't repeat those situations? We have to be able to decide that for men and women. And that is a really hard discussion to have. In this case, I guess my feeling is, Sophie, I feel for those children. I hope that she's improving her reactivity and her emotions, because clearly, even without Dakota, this is a girl that is compelling to watch. She is probably ADHD. Maybe I'm not armchair diagnosing. Please don't come at me. It's just that all my friends are neurospicy. Okay. So I see all the people I love are
Exactly.
neurospicy, and I might be a little bit myself. So I see the common factors. She has emotional impulsivity control issues, in my opinion, because she's been raised in a church that's probably enabled abuse, enables the man to abuse women, enables women to believe that men are their controllers. She's come from a really fucked up place, if people don't mind me saying. Let's say that she's improved and moved on. I guess my question is, oh God, I have so many questions, but should we watch it? Do we platform someone who has done that? Or do we platform their recovery if it's genuine? But is Bachelor really going to find her the right man that is going to stand by her? And then the question is, let's say yes to all of that and be very generous. Do we watch it? I don't know. I don't know how I feel, because when it was first coming out in March, Maths Australia had just finished. Charlie and I were like, what's going to be our silly, trashy show to watch together? Oh my God, we're going to watch The Bachelorette. We were so excited that, like, literally 2 days before when they pulled the plug, we were like, what? This is so fair.
I know.
So if they screen it now, though, like, is she even with the guy? Is there any point in watching it? Like, what are your thoughts?
We'll have to put spoiler alerts. Well, I have heard on the grapevine that out on these streets that she did end up with someone. So I don't know, but I don't know if she is with that person. I don't know anything. Just if you've watched Bachelor in Australia, they quite often don't choose anyone at the end. I don't think that actually happens in the American versions. But yeah, the question is do we platform or give a platform to someone who has had so much turbulence in their life, and does that help them, harm them, the community, the people that are watching it? I truly feel that it's complex, and I think that there is a way to show the show, even if they have to re-edit it a bit, to just acknowledge that, to say, look, here's this woman who is imperfect, who's been learning and trying to learn, and she keeps falling over, but she keeps getting back up. And, we want to give her this opportunity to move outside of this closed knit circle and
Yeah.
see, and it is just to Bachelor Nation, but that is still outside of her community. And my concern for her is like when she started with the swinging scandal, she started to move away from the church a little bit and try and find a bit of independence. And then through these issues she's had, she's moved back deeper into the church and she's gone back in there for savior. And that worries me. So, yeah. And I mean, I would just love to see this journey. She's compelling TV. So I feel as though this is, our constant battle around the
Yeah.
two sides of ourselves who love the shallow, silly, pretty, shiny of it all, but we also care deeply about women's rights and the world. And I think, in this case, I would be happy to do both. I wouldn't be able to watch it with, my blinders on as I like to do sometimes, but I would still, obviously, I would still I'd like to watch it.
You'd like to watch it. Well, I can tell you this. If they screen it, I'll watch it. And I guess that's the bottom line, right? If they put it on, I know that I will watch it. And I will have all these discussions with Charlie. I mean, it is the battle between the two sides of us. And it's also, we see this in film. You have incredible films made by people like Roman Polanski, but he's also a rapist. And there's lots of discussions about separating art from the artist. I personally am not good at that. I won't watch a Roman Polanski film, et cetera, et cetera. I won't watch a Brad Pitt film anymore. Like, fuck that guy.
No, I haven't listened to a Michael Jackson song in a decade,
Nope.
and that was
Will not.
my first concert. Like the morning I have for not being able to listen to his music, I really struggle with, but I will not.
But
So
he was a monster. And I guess the thing is, but I am willing to sit down and watch reality TV that has people in it that are not of my political spectrum. They're doing things that I don't necessarily agree with. And, I watch Australian Married at First Sight. So that is that platform's the most hideous men. And this is also a discussion for another time, but I do sit and watch that. So I know I would sit and watch this and I would feel conflicted. And I guess that's just an ongoing conflict that we talk about and manage, and partly through this podcast as well. But there are certain shows that I will watch just for the fun of it and not engage on the deeper levels of fact that goodness knows these people are probably voting for Trump. Like the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, the Real Housewives of Orange County, the Real Housewives of Rhode Island. I know I don't have anything in common with these people. I don't believe what their worldviews are. Like, I don't agree with them, but I watch them because they are fun. And so I am still in that stage of like, I guess I'm an unprincipled watcher of these shows. I'll engage to a point, but I'll also be like, I'm just going to watch this and take it at face value. And it's a tricky one. I guess.
I think that's a level of self-awareness we need to, continue to have. And I think, the thing you raised before, or the question you posed around, like, do we give people their redemption arc? And I know you and I have had this chat privately before. And, one of the arguments is that now with cancel culture, we will just cut people off when they make a mistake, and we absolutely then don't give them the opportunity to learn, grow, do better, and see them on that arc. And I'm like a real proponent of the arc, because there have been scenarios before where I just thought, I don't ever want to see this person on my television again, and yet I've seen them, in my view, redeemed at the end. And so again, she's probably not going to do all of that in one season of The Bachelorette, but I would love that for her, because at the end of the day,
And for her
nothing
children.
changed. Like, everything that we found out, we already knew. It's just that, just so what? The networks wanted to pretend they didn't know about it. Like, that's not good enough for me.
It's not good enough that they hung her out to dry for something they absolutely already knew. It smacks of just waiting till the temperature came down about it, and then they're going to put it out. Look, I just don't think it'll cause the big stir and excitement that it would have if they had just aired it at the time. If they were always going to air it, you should have just aired it at its maximum controversy, purely from a capitalist point of view, and just worn it, and people would have come around. But like you said, I I'm interested in seeing a woman's redemption arc when she's a victim of abuse. I am not interested in seeing a man's redemptive arc when he is a perpetrator of abuse. And maybe that's the line for me.
Yeah, and I think it's important to have a line, right?
Mm.
Because it is a slippery slope.
Well, we see her redemption arc too for her children. She has a family. And so we know that we want her to stop the cycle of abuse, right? We want her to get out of that Mormon situation, get her kids out, give them some stability, give them some self-determination, give herself some self-determination, and create a stable environment. And so, yeah, whether we can see that full redemption arc on The Bachelorette, probably not, but let's hope it's the first step towards it.
And sorry, just to go back, you triggered a thought with me when you said the the money of it all. Which I always say to my kids, I'm like, when you can't understand something, follow the money. And they're like, what does that mean, Mum? But I do remember that they had some really big sponsorship in Bachelor, whether it was like Wendy's or something like that, where there was they had done some really obvious promotion. And I think they pulled the sponsorship at the time of that video, which would have required a big re-edit. So whether the sponsors have now come back on board and that's now why they're going to do it, or they've re-edited it, but it's like always follow the money, right? I don't think it's an ethical decision by the network at all, right? Like you said, maybe just waiting for the temperature to come down, but yeah, follow the money. And I think that's probably, we'll get our answer.
You're so right. Always follow the money.
Always
Always follow the money.
Which feels cynical, but it's a pretty good rule to figuring something out.
It's not cynical. We live in a capitalist world. It's just follow the money is on the money. So if we're going to mix our metaphors and cliches, following the money is on the money. That's what it is. I agree.
Perfect. And while we're speaking about the world, why don't we move on to the things that have distracted us this week in the world?
Oh, yes. I've been so distracted this week. So we may have mentioned my mum is getting married next week. So Sophie and I are traveling in from our respective states to celebrate. She's marrying a lovely man that she met in her geriatric walking group. So they are both 76 years old. Mum asked him out for the first time. So she came to me one day and she said, oh, there's a really nice man in my walking group and I just would like to be his friend, but outside the walking group. How do I go about inviting him for a coffee as a friend? And now if
I
you
didn't
know my
know
mum,
this.
oh yeah, and like you guys don't know my mum, but she is like made for romantic partnership. Like girlfriend has not been single for 50 years. So I said to her, well, you just at the end of a walk one day, just say to him, hey, would you like to go for coffee as a mate? And she said, I can do that. I said, you can do that. So she did. And she said, this was the cutest thing. He said to her, oh, I'll give you my number. But because they're both like 76, they didn't have their phones. They were all flustered. So she said he ran to his car to get a pen and piece of paper so he could write down his number to give her so she could then text him later to sort out this thing. And then she goes to me. So she rings me up that night and she says, so I've got his number on the piece of paper here. When do I text him? Do I wait a certain amount of time? And I was like, I don't think you have time to waste at this age. Just
No, keep it moving, sister.
keep it moving. I said, just text him now and say, thanks for your number. When are you free? So I could hear her. I'm on the phone and she's going, beep, 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 texting him. Oh,
You were
Jesse, he's
there.
replied. I was like, great. So look, they fell in love and yeah, they're getting married. It's so adorable. Now, the thing is I've been distracted by obviously the emotion of all that, but mainly what the hell am I going to wear? What are you wearing, Sophie? I know you are making a dress. I just need you have to tell me what your outfit plan is because I'm freaking
I know,
out.
and I'm usually very fixated. Well, I am fixated. I've dedicated like 6 weeks to what I'm going to wear to your mother's wedding because I've been trying to learn to sew. And I just saw this dress on Pinterest that had the most like incredible looking vintage neckline and I became obsessed with it. I learned to draft. I found a vintage Vogue pattern. I did all of these things. I've sewed the dress and like I do with my ADHD obsessions, I then just move on. And the dress isn't quite finished. The hem is sitting a little strange. So, Jessie, I was planning to wear this beautiful green velvet dress because it's a winter wedding. So we're
Yeah.
in, central New South Wales. It's going to be cold. I made a velvet dress. Actually, I saw velvet in the shops recently. I was like, I was ahead.
No, you are. Velvet is very in at the moment.
I had no idea. And so, I mean, obviously I've been sewing it for 3 years. So the goal is to wear this, high neck green velvet dress, if I can get it finished on time. But then I was actually waiting to see what you were wearing, because I'm like, I could always just change and wear something else. So what are you wearing?
Oh, okay. Here's the thing, you guys. Mum sent me their decorative setup, and it is navy blue, white, and soft pink. Now, originally, I had planned to wear this Karen Millen dress that I got, which was very outside my normal fashion sense. If you know me and you open my wardrobe, you're going to see 4 colors: tan, navy, white, and black, maybe some blush pink as well. Like, I'm very much a neutral girl, other than my sequins for special occasions, because I feel like being ethnic looking, I can't carry a lot of print, right? It's just my own personal insecurity. I feel like it makes me look funny, or like I stand out too much. And I've always just wanted to fit in with, the white Brisbane community that I grew up in the 80s and 90s. And I felt very much outside that beauty standard, and still do. So I thought, no, it's my mum's second wedding. This is a crazy event. I'm going to just go outside my usual comfort zone. So I bought this tulle dress that has massive puffy long tulle sleeves, and it has a V-neck, and then it has this puffy tulle long skirt, and it's like a maroon color with pink polka dots.
Oh, cute. And I love Karen Millen. Like, her stuff is phenomenal.
It's super cute. And anyway, I put it on and I'm like, I can't wear this. I look like someone who should be like in the Hunger Games, but up on stage. Like, I look crazy in this dress. So then I was going to take it to like an ultra and see if we could kind of like tone it down a little bit. And I haven't had time. So now I'm thinking I've got a couple of options. I've got like a hot pink halter neck dress that's like 3/4, and I've got a blush pink coat. So I could color drench, right? I could do different shades of pink, and that would look nice because there's pink in the room. Or I could wear navy silk with a slight mock neck, similar to like your little mock neck. And I could get Charlie to wear either navy, or he's got a beautiful blush pink tuxedo jacket, and then we would still sort of match the room. And I don't know why I'm obsessed with matching the room. That's really weird as well. But I don't know. So I think I'm going to do a fashion parade with Charlie on the weekend, which is what we call it when we like come out in our different outfits. And we'll have to vote and see. I have a question for you, though. I have several white dresses, but would it be wrong?
No.
But they're
No.
70. She's wearing
No.
blue. She's not wearing white. I'm just saying.
No. Unless you're officially a bridesmaid who's been asked to wear white, don't do it. It's not worth it. I think you want to match the room because you're a piece of furniture in this relationship. You were there from the start.
Yeah.
I have a question. So with the first dress, though, I'm not letting this go. Did you have a time where you tried it on and you did feel good in it, and then you did a subsequent try on where you felt over the top, or you've always felt that it was over the top?
I've always felt that it was over the top.
Okay, because I'm like, maybe you're just having a crash out because it's getting close and, you're panicking. But if you like loved it in the first place, go with that. But okay, so did you get it online and you didn't try it on? Yeah, okay, no worries. Well, if I would love to see maybe the pictures of your little fashion parade, and I would be happy to chip in, because I know I'm a bit stressed about the color theme too now, because Amy Lou, who's one of the ring bearers, her dress is like a pale green, because I heard that the other little girl's wearing pale green. And I'm like, now, why are the girls wearing pale green when it's navy, pink, and white? And I didn't know about the pink. And because, I'm making the ring cushions. And so I've made them cream and navy blue. I was trying to find like one of Granny's old like tablecloths or something so I could sew that into the ring cushion, so there was like a bit of like your mum's mum there. But I couldn't find the right fabric. But now I'm wondering if I should be doing the other ring pillow with like pink, so that it's like the navy blue and the pink, because I didn't know about the pink.
I know. Well, the thing is, guys, when your 76-year-old mum decides to get married, and the key part of this is that when she married my dad all those years ago, they eloped to Canada. She has never organized a wedding in her life, and she does not understand how much how many moving parts go into organizing a wedding and how stressful it is. And so way back when, like months ago, I said to her, you're going to need my help organizing the wedding. It's going to get really stressful. And she kept laughing and saying, oh, Jessica, maybe you're stressed, but I'm not stressed. And I just thought to myself, oh, you give it time.
Yeah, we
I
didn't
will.
even get invitations to begin with. And I was like, you sent me a picture of like originally a dress you were thinking about. And you were saying something and I was like, I don't have an invitation. I don't know when it is. Am I invited?
This was the hilarious part. I'm like, hey, Sophie, I'm thinking of wearing this dress to the wedding. And you're like, when's the wedding? And I was like, July 4th. And you're like, I don't have an invitation. So I rang mum at that point. I was like, you realize no one knows when you're getting married. Have you sent invitations? And she said to me verbatim, I haven't sent invitations. That's your
Like
job.
somebody else would have.
She said, that's your job. To me. I was like, I don't know what your details are. So look, what ended up happening was we sat down, she came to visit me and your mum, and I gave her a list of 25 things she had to do to get this wedding organised. She took
Okay.
that list home and she and Kevin have literally been ticking their way through it. God bless them. But yeah, it's been on my mind. What am I going to wear? How's this wedding going to go? There's been a bit of family drama, like my oldest brother is not attending. It's just, it's going to be fun. But what's going to be really fun, you guys, is Sophie and I will be together in the same room and we're going to do a lot of extra fun content for the Instagram and you'll be able to see us hanging out together and being silly. So that'll be good.
That is the best part about having a podcast with your cousin because you get to see each other. So yeah, that is so exciting. I'm so excited to see you in Bathurst next week. I don't know if Sean's as excited. I know he's excited for the wedding, but actually our 15-year wedding anniversary is on the 2nd of July. And
Aw.
so originally we talked about going away and obviously we are going away. We're going away for your mum's wedding. But guess where Sean is going to be on the 2nd of July? He is
Where?
going to be doing a road trip with his mother-in-law, his wife, his 2 daughters, and because whenever we go down, I try to do a road trip because we like to show the girls different parts of where our mums grew up. So last time we went and did Armidale where they went to boarding school. Anyway, this time I wanted to do Narrabri where mum was born and then Balladda, show them the pub, the shop, etc. Anyway, literally when we go on these road trips, mum sits next to Sean in the front and I sit in the back with the girls. And so he will be spending the entire 2nd of July, our 15-year wedding anniversary, with his mother-in-law, talking to him about her family history as we do a road trip.
Hey, he signed up for better or worse. Sean?
Hey, listen, I started it the way I meant to finish it, okay?
You
So
did.
I never pretended he was getting anything else. So
No. Sean,
it's
you knew what this was. And you know what? On the upside, Sophie's mum adores Sean and is always like pumping Sean up and taking Sean's side, similarly to the way that my mum adores Charlie and is like, is Jessica behaving herself, Charlie? Let me know. So he'll have a fine time. Now, what has been
absolutely.
distracting? Sorry.
I was just going to say that it's the same, and I know you said it's the same, but I always say if Sean and I got a divorce, like our family would ask for him.
Oh,
And I'm like, I felt that way for years. I'm like, you would get my family in the divorce. Although, I mean, I really love his family too. So, but I still don't think they would choose me in a divorce. So
no,
we'll just
I
have
think
to
Habib,
avoid
my
that.
brother, one of my brothers would definitely choose Charlie. He'll often say to Charlie, I love you. You're the best mentor we've ever had.
Okay, well, perfect, because your mum's wedding is what was distracting me this week too. So we've just been, trying to get our accommodation booked and all of those things. So, all right, well, should we move on to our recommendations?
Yes. What are your recommendations this week?
Oh, me just keeping it really deep as always. I am actually going to recommend a type of mascara. And so I'm just one of those people, when I find something I love, I want to share it with everybody. And so I have really deep set eyes, like really deep set. And so I have like dark circles, etc., etc. But when I wear a regular mascara, when it falls out during the day, but more so when you take it off, I will have a black shadow under my eye for days. So
Yes.
I used to sort of wear mascara maybe like on the weekend, but then I'd have a black eye. So I went years and years not wearing any mascara because I just couldn't handle the after effects of the stain, and I tried every makeup remover, etc. Then I learned a couple of years ago about tubing mascara, and I'm sure most of you have heard, but if you haven't, you need to know about tubing mascara. It's this new technology where you put the mascara on and it just encases your eyelashes with like this little tube, but once the mascara becomes the tube, it never reverts to liquid again. So it cannot stain under your eyes. And originally there was only a couple of brands that were doing it, and I started with the Kevin O'Coin. I don't know how to pronounce it. And then Victoria Beckham did one. I've been using them for years now. I've recently just tried the Mecca Max version. It's called Fangirl Panorama. It's only $30 and I love it. And so it's not thickening, it's more lengthening. But I actually don't care. I'm just happy to have any mascara on. And it just, you have a shower and you've just like, for your face, and you just touch your eyelashes and it all just comes off. No stain. You don't need anything. Anyway, if you haven't heard of tubing mascara and you have deep set eyes, give it a go.
Sophie, you gifted me a tube of Kevin Alcoin's tubing mascara at our very first Christmas in July that we put on together. And it changed my life because I have the stubbiest, shortest eyelashes. You can even see here, I'm actually wearing the tubing mascara, but it doesn't look like I have anything on because they're already so small. But I could never wear mascara for the exact same reason. I have massive Arabic dark circles under my eyes, and it would always fall off and would make me look worse. I used to say about myself, there was this old ad in the 90s in Brisbane where I think it was advertising for like makeup removal, but you know, the girl went out partying, she had a mascara on, she went to bed, she woke up and they said to her, uh-oh, panda eyes. And so I was always like, uh-oh, panda eyes. Like I've always got panda eyes and it's so frustrating. But tubing mascara is a revelation. Ladies, it will not get on your face. I have also tried the Natio, which is another cheap one, but it's in it's the precision one. So as you say, don't go for the extra thick one. That's not what you want. You want length. You don't want clumpy thickness. And so if you're not going to spring for the Kevin O'Coy one, which I totally understand because we are all living in this economy, the Natio one, precision, is good too. But I want to try this Mecca one because, as you said, it's lengthening and that's what I actually need.
Yeah, and it's lengthening. And then if you will take the time to curl your lashes, which I never used to do, but now I have an 11-year-old and a 13-year-old who are carrying around their eyelash curlers. I was like, what are you doing? But they're like, Mum, it makes a big difference. So I was like, oh, it does make a big difference. So if you lengthen and then you do the thing. I was just going to say, I actually never followed up with you to see if you liked it because I just didn't. So I had no idea whether you liked it or not. So I'm so pleased that a few years later, you're still on the tubing mascara.
It has changed my life, and I've been trying all different ones. Like I tried Model Co, I tried Nacio, Kevin Alcoin. Like I try all the different brands to see like the consistencies and different things will sit on my tiny little. I have tiny eyes. Sophie, you have the most big, beautiful eyes. I have tiny little ones. They're like,
you don't.
I do, and that's the end.
If you look at the camera right now, if you're not watching on YouTube, maybe, but like your eyes look bigger than mine.
Oh, So thank you though.
Well, try the Mecca Max one and report back because I'd be interested to see what you think because you've obviously explored a lot more than I have.
Well, I'm going to buy the Mecca Max one when I land at Sydney Airport based on your recommendation. We can test it out at the wedding. That's what is the recommendation? Also, I want to give you a job to do. I want you to go and find me the best eyebrow pencil because I have terrible and I need a really good one.
I do have a good one. I will show it to you. I'll show it to you next week. You can try it next week on the weekend and then tell me if you like it.
And we'll
but it has the brush in it. Like you need the brush.
Yes.
Anyway, again, talk to my girls. They are phenomenal at doing their brows. It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. Eyelashes and brows are the Gen Alpha, Gen Z thing. All right. Well, I think that's a brilliant recommendation. My recommendation is for a couple of TV shows this week. If you guys are looking for something to watch, there's two. One is ridiculous and one is quite serious. And actually, when I was planning to recommend this first serious show, I watched a bit more of it last night and it is getting really intense. So I just want to and I can handle a lot, but even I'm like, oh God, this is a very intense show. So the first show I want to recommend is Tiptoe. Or Tiptoes, but basically it has the host of Traitors. So Alan Cummings, who is this gorgeous, classically trained Scottish actor. He's fabulous. He's just adorable. He looks like a little pixie man. I love him. He was in Romy and Michelle's high school reunion. Like, he's just adorable. So he's executive produced this show with a friend of his who's written it. And essentially the setup is that Alan Cummings is an out and proud gay man living in Manchester in England, and he runs the local gay pub, and he hires all lovely people of the LGBTQI plus community. And he lives next door to a very traditional straight white family. So it's a unhappily married couple and their 2 children, 2 boys, one's 25, one's 16. So what happens is Alan Cummings's character finds himself locked out of his house one day, like almost naked, and he has to go next door and ask for this very, uptight, traditional,
Straight-laced.
straight-laced father for help to get back into his house. And like where I thought it was going, I was like, it's going to be great. There's going to be great discussions. They're going to end up friends. No, this is a very tense story, and it is extremely contemporary. It is looking at how our current world, and they literally talk about Trump in this show, is affecting gay people, transsexual people, vulnerable people. And it's also really good at showing how it doesn't actually help the straight, white, middle-aged men that are so angry, that are voting for him, that are voting for Brexit, that are doing all these things. It doesn't help them either. And instead of them realizing that, they're just kind of getting angrier. So anyway, these 2 characters come into conflict, and that's all I'll say. It's a really fantastic show to watch. I wouldn't watch it with your kids unless they were 16 and above. There's some pretty heavy concepts, and it is building towards a pretty shattering crescendo. Now, if you want something lighthearted to watch, because I swear to God, I am lighthearted most of the time.
I love that about you, though. It's you're textured, you're deep, you're layered. It's like you watch the smart stuff and you watch the silly stuff. It's you come with the problem and the solution.
Yes, problem and solution, but I'm just curious about everything. So anyway, I said to Charlie, we watched another episode of this show, and I was like, I need a palate cleanser. So because we're in our 40s now, we were going through ABC iView, and I was like, oh my God, Charlie, we're turning into our parents.
Yeah.
And we found this show, which is a little bit old. I think it's already been cancelled. There were 2 seasons, and it's called The Queen of Oz. Now, this is a comedy, and Sophie, I think you and your girls might enjoy it. It's fairly broad comedy, but basically there's this wayward redheaded princess in the UK royal family, and she's so naughty. She's not the heir, she's the spare. So she's redheaded, and she's partying. Yeah, very Harry-coded. The woman who plays her is Catherine Tate, who's a hilarious British comedian. She's in her 40s, and she is punished by the royal family by being sent to Australia and made our ceremonial queen. So she gets a promotion to queen, but only of Australia. And she's just like, I don't want to go to Australia. It's 45 degrees there. Oh, hideous. So they send her off, and, shenanigans and fun and comedy ensue. And I've watched, I think, 2 episodes, and it is just such a lighthearted, low-stakes, fun show. I am loving it. So that's called The Queen of Oz, and it's on ABC iView. I honestly think people should give it a go.
That is amazing. I mean, I love anything royalty adjacent. Like, I'm obsessed. So that would be, okay. And you know what it is? It's when your kids are this age, it's such a tricky age to find shows that are appropriate to watch with them. And so, I mean, like now I've been watching, maths with my kids, not appropriate. But it is so hard to find something, we do like Survivor and I'm a Celebrity, like we kind of do the game shows. But I was just saying to Sean the other night, I'm like, I need to find something else to watch with them as well. I'm sure you can watch it without kids, but I do love a good sort of family recommendation. Thank you, Jessie.
Yeah, it's perfect for families. It's got a bit of intrigue. Like you said, it's royalty adjacent. Who's not fascinated by all that stuff? I love it. And like she's got her butler that comes with her that's this older, crusty old man, but they're going to have fun together. And like it's got all the fun elements that you would want. So
you know what? It sounds like Coming to America, but like the updated version, which I also loved as a kid. Now, as we draw to a close of this episode, we will probably just mention something a little quickly, which is we're both at a wedding next weekend. So we will actually be having our Sunday lunch in person in Bathurst, which means we won't be dropping our regular episode. So we have got a special little surprise for you that we are going to drop next Sunday. It's something we think you're really going to enjoy in your feed, and we call it like a bonus episode, but we're going to be discussing our top 3 non-reality TV shows.
Yes.
And how hard was it for you to choose your top 3?
I'm still choosing. Like, I'm ready, but it's so hard.
I know. I almost in my list, I'm like, we're going to have to do a follow-up episode where we get to take it to our top 5 or 10. And then I have this like number 4 that just keeps, I'm like, maybe we can have like a special mention. Like, I'm already trying to break the rules. You're like, yes, let's do it. So yes, if you haven't already, please follow us everywhere, like, subscribe.
Give us a
We really
rating.
need reviews. What did you say, Jessie?
I said, give us a rating, but you're about
Yes.
to say it. Review and rate 5 stars,
review and
please.
rate.
Thank you, guys. Happy Sunday lunch. Bye.
Happy Sunday lunch. Bye.
Bye.
This podcast was recorded on the lands of the Turrbal, Yagara, and Lutruwita peoples. We pay respect to their elders past and present.